This is the biggest week in professional wrestling, and I'm covering it all throughout the week. My name is Ango, and on this channel, I bring you guys the latest wrestling news, and I bring you the analysis to go along with it. I want you to weigh in on the conversation, so go ahead and drop a comment down below, or maybe even consider joining the Discord server. We got a lot to talk about: AEW, WWE, and of course, WrestleMania 38. Very, very big stuff happening throughout the week. Let's kick things off with the Steiner Brothers. WWE just reported today that the Steiner Brothers are headed to the Hall of Fame. And this is very, very shocking, honestly. Now, we had talked about this on the channel before, that there was rumors, there was plans of WWE trying to make it happen. But the biggest issue, the biggest concern here was Scott Steiner. Now, it's pretty well documented that Scott Steiner has had a rough history with WWE. Their relationship was definitely rocky. And, yeah, it was pretty much expected that Scott Steiner would not come back to the WWE. But as you all know, WWE... In wrestling, just in general, you never say never. And, you know, I look at the Steiner Brothers as not only a legendary tag team, but I look at Braun Breaker, somebody who is clearly he's got it. Braun Breaker definitely has it. He is going to be in a very prominent position in WWE. He has what WWE is looking for. Braun Breaker, even at one point, chose to have the name Braun Breaker because he didn't want to have anything to do with the Steiner name, because he reportedly felt that he didn't want to have success because of that, right? Like, he wanted to be able to do it on his own accord. Now, with that being said, with the Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner going into the Hall of Fame scenario, I think WWE does need to play a little bit more into that. I think it's obvious Braun Breaker is probably going to be the one who inducts them into the Hall of Fame. It hasn't been confirmed, but these guys are finally being celebrated. And, you know, I don't know if there's going to ever be plans for Rick and Scott Steiner to appear on WWE television. But what I do know is that Braun Breaker having a major career and a major future in WWE could make for some great television if you decided to bring in Scott and of course, his father, Rick Steiner. So, yeah, this is exciting stuff. You know, I never really thought that Scott Steiner would actually come back to WWE in any capacity. To see them being celebrated, it is great. And honestly, I really do like this Hall of Fame class so far. I mean, what we've seen is Shad Gaspard, Vader, Queen Sharmell, and then, of course, you got The Undertaker, and then you add the Steiner Brothers into it. This is a pretty cool thing. I know, you know, the Hall of Fame is taking place immediately after SmackDown, which... honestly, I kind of like that idea, too, because if you buy tickets for SmackDown, you're getting access to the Hall of Fame, and I just think that's like a clever way of doing it. There's so much stuff happening, and with the way WWE, you know, they have SmackDown, NXT, Raw, this, that, and the whole 10 million other shows, plus all the indie shows, I actually like that setup a little bit. But yeah, the Steiners are going to the Hall of Fame. I'm excited about it, and I just can't wait to hear that speech. I don't know if we're going to get some Steiner math or something, but holy crap, I literally cannot wait. And this, by the way, does not confirm a Legends deal has been signed or anything like that. Obviously, things can change. Maybe this is just literally a one-time thing. You got to keep that in mind, too. But hopefully, Braun Breaker is there to induct them, and hopefully we can see WWE start acknowledging that the Steiners, you know, especially Scott Steiner being the uncle, hopefully they can acknowledge that. Now, speaking of WrestleMania 38, WWE is reportedly having some hard time planning it out specifically when it comes to the match card placement. Now, this is obviously a big concern because originally it was believed that Charlotte and Ronda Rousey was going to main event night one. Now, I can only go off of my own analysis, my own opinion, and things I've personally seen. Watching the build to Rousey and Charlotte has actually been terrible. Like, seriously terrible. And I'm not bought into it. And it's sad because I really like Charlotte Flair. I actually think Charlotte Flair is a really great worker. I think she's really talented. She plays her role very well. And I think a lot of people who hate Charlotte Flair hate her because she is so good at her role. And, you know, WWE constantly pushes her, and she knows how to... She knows how to be such a good bad guy that, like, legitimately, I think she draws heat, right? And Ronda Rousey at this point, I don't know what to say. Like, I was happy about Ronda Rousey coming back, but this feud is just not working for me. So WWE is reportedly having an issue with all of this, right? When it comes to WWE planning out what closes night one, what closes night two, there's a lot of things up in the air. Now, according to the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE is still undecided on what they want as for night one. Now, the belief is that technically the women's match can very well end the pay-per-view, but then Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens can end the show specifically. Now, we had talked about this because it was a rumor before, and obviously WWE is still up in the air about it. But if Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair do not deliver a good match, and it is in fact the last match of night one, it is going to leave a very sour taste on the fans' mouth. Now, I think Ronda Rousey and Charlotte will have a good match, but the problem is there's really no good story connected to it. The build-up has been very poor, in my opinion. So I don't feel like there's actually anticipation for that match. Now, with that being said, Stone Cold Steve Austin hasn't even appeared once on Raw. And Kevin Owens has brought this storyline to a he's brought the storyline into a very big position. Like, honestly, he has brought it into a very, very, very big position. Because Kevin Owens did this all on his own without Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now people can't wait for Stone Cold Steve Austin to beat up Kevin Owens. If Steve Austin has the ability to do one more match, we need to see it this year. Maybe just a couple more matches. But we need to see Stone Cold at least. I do not want to see Stone Cold brawling with Kevin Owens for 5 minutes only for him to be like, all right, guys, that was it. Bye. Give me more. That's what I want. But it will be very, very cool to see this happen. And I do want to say shame on WWE. You know, they should have been a little bit more specific on every detail. Not just a few days. This is not WrestleMania Raw or WrestleMania SmackDown. This is the WrestleMania, the stupendous show. The most stupendous show. And you do not make last-minute decisions for WrestleMania like you do Raw and SmackDown. That is a problem. All right, guys, Tony Khan is promising a very, very, very special night for Supercard of Honor. And, of course, Tony Khan, every single time he talks about Supercard of Honor, he's talking about his history as a booker, booking, sold out, highest grossing, most pay-per-view buys ever with AEW. And shout out to Tony Khan, he actually has done that. He has done a very good job of selling pay-per-views, and he wants it to be known that Supercard of Honor is going to be massive. And he specifically said on Strong Style Live, if you leave this show early, in reference to fans leaving the show early, that would be a regret you'll never forget. Now, Tony Khan sure as hell knows how to get people talking about his product, and he sure as hell knows how to get people excited about his product. A massive surprise to close out the night of ROH could be very, very beneficial for ROH Supercard of Honor. Now, I have a feeling that night we're going to hear of some signings. And I do expect Samoa Joe to be somehow, I don't know why I'm getting this hench, but I believe Samoa Joe will be there. I believe CM Punk, Bryan Danielson will be there. And I think Tony Khan is right. If you leave this show early, you're going to have a regret that you'll never forget. And honestly, as somebody who's going to be live, right? I will be live on the channel. We got the WrestleMania week live. The Ango Show live experience, weekly extravaganza. We'll be covering it. We'll be talking about it. I have a very strong feeling that this is a pay-per-view you don't want to miss. And by the way, I think the reason of that is because the card is actually kind of weak. The card is not that good, in my opinion. Bandito versus Gresham, cool. Swerve versus Alex Zane, and that's cool. FTR versus Briscoe, sweet. Lethal versus Moriarty, that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's not like Lee Moriarty, or Swerve have been built up like incredibly big by the AEW audience. These are going to be great wrestling matches. It's obviously a transitional show, and I just feel like it's missing more star power, and I think that's how you do it. You do it by surprises. How does Tony Khan sell a pay-per-view? How does he get asses in the seats? Surprises. And I think this one's going to be the one to watch for. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and make sure you subscribe because I'm going to keep you updated throughout the WrestleMania week.